YouTube, my name is Mesa Sean, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Alright folks, I've got another bombshell news article to go over with you guys from Polygon, and this one's all about the Vault of Glass and the facelift this raid is getting, being taken from Destiny 1 and brought into Destiny 2. We might even have a possible season that it might be coming, but that's unverified right now. I'll explain in a little bit here. It was over on Twitter, but I can't find the source, and I searched everywhere, Reddit, 4chan, you name it, can't find it anywhere, but this person says he thinks it's coming in Season 14, but anyway, we'll discuss in a little bit. But it looks like Polygon went over to Bungie and had a number of interviews, and they're slowly, putting out their articles regarding things that they discussed with Bungie. Check out my video where they talked with Luke Smith about possibly removing supers to maintain class identities, things like maybe getting rid of Nova Warp or possibly even Well of Radiance. And yeah, just check out that video. It will be annotated on screen and also in the end card. So let's get into the video, guys. If you enjoy it, a like rating does help me out. Comments help out even more. Subscriptions help out even more. And if you really want to take it to the next level, become a channel member and join an awesome Destiny 2 Mesa Army community over on Discord. And also the channel members set up and they run a channel member clan, PC, Xbox, and PS4. All right, guys, let's get into the news. Coming out of Polygon, Vault of Glass will get a facelift for Destiny 2, not a rework. Assistant Game Director Joe Blackburn talks Fatebringer and resurrecting an iconic raid. And he talks about a few other weapons here. And let me know in the comment section right now, what was your favorite weapon from the Vault of Glass? Whether it was the Adept versions. Do you guys remember that? The Adept versions when they came out with Rise of Iron during the, I think it was Age of Triumph, I think it was. Yeah, I always want to call it Moments of Triumph. No, that's what we went through. The Age of Triumph. Do you remember those? We had the Fatebringer Adept, Vision of Confluence Adept, Praetor's Timepiece. My favorites were Fatebringer Adept, Vision of Confluence Adept, and of course, my beloved Vex Mythoclast. But I love the Vex Mythoclast before they neutered it. Remember when Fusion Rifles in Year 3, they got a neuter, and Vex Mythoclast, because it was considered a Fusion Rifle, also got hit by that. And it was great for a while. Not when it was OP when it first came out and it destroyed everybody. I didn't even have it at that time. But I mean, after they fixed it, it was great in PvP, it was great in PvE, it was great in everything. Full auto fusion rifle, kinetic, solar, it was amazing. Loved it. So the article just kind of kicks off with, well, one of the most exciting features coming down the pipeline this year is, well, we know the Vault of Glass is coming back. And I know some people have their mixed opinions on that. Well, you know, it's a reskin, or why am I getting the same content? Make something new. Look, guys, the Vault of Glass was the most iconic raid we've ever had. And you know what? I'm happy if they bring all the old raids back at some point, okay? Or rotate them in and out, whatever. All right, but they do also say here that the franchise's original raid, the Vault of Glass, might have some newer enemy types and also things like champions. And they link to the original Vidoc, where Luke Smith actually kind of hinted at that a little bit. Moving along here, how will the Vault of Glass feel different? So, Joe Blackburn, straight up quote, says, "I think the ultimate goal here is to make it feel like the Vault of Glass felt the first time you did it." Meaning, like, you know, you had no idea what you were in store for. And then he continues with, which is probably pretty different than if we just did a straight port of the Vault of Glass. Now, thank God they're not just porting it and we already know all the encounters, or if you were a Destiny 1 veteran, it's not going to feel any different, and what fun is that, okay? So it sounds like it's going to be pretty different here. Polygon chimes in, since Vault of Glass first debuted in the original Destiny, well, players have gotten new supers, new exotics, new weapon types, and new element, and, well, a sequel. And Blackburn says, the Guardians have become significantly stronger in this amount of time. So Joe Blackburn also told Polygon the raid team is responsible for the Vault of Glass remake went back to the original version on PlayStation 4 just to see how it felt. The team determined that we as Guardians would smoke this thing with Destiny 2 weapons and armor mods. Speaking from personal experience, going back to the old Destiny raids earlier this year, Vault of Glass, the enemies feel weak, and the flow of enemies onto the battlefield is extremely slow. And now that I go and think about that, yeah, it did feel really slow. I would say except for the end. And do you remember the good old Gorgonzola maze, I used to call this? And look, still using, I always use Outbreak, even in Destiny 1. I imagine the Gorgon's maze is probably going to have like champions and things we're going to have to deal with them. I don't know, it's just me speculating here. All right, let's continue along here. In a modern Destiny where every super can eliminate a dozen or more enemies and players can trap doorways with weapons like Anarchy, boss encounters like Atheon and Templar would just fall all over. And, you know, think about it, guys. We have Well of Radiance. We've got Stasis now. We could freeze everything. It wouldn't work if they just totally ported the same thing from Destiny 1 right back to Destiny 2. It's probably going to feel drastically different, and it's going to be a different player experience, which I am all for. Continuing along here, Joe Blackburn says, we definitely are going to make changes to make it feel challenging like it felt before, but we don't want to go too far. And he says, we want to make it feel like it's a different raid. He said he compared it to, well, they said he compared it to the process of how they updated the Vault of Glass and Crota's End raids for the Destiny final patch during Rise of Iron. He says there were some slight sandbox tweaks, but it was like, oh yeah, this is still the Oracle's encounter, and this is still the Templar encounter. And they say Blackburn told us that the team may need to change a bit more this time around because of the leap from the original Destiny to Destiny 2, but players shouldn't walk into a room and say, this is not the boss fight that I remember. Joe says every encounter will start with people who present the original Destiny strategy for the fight. Whether those original strategies hold up is another question, as players will doubtlessly find far more efficient ways to clear bosses with a host of new tools at their disposal. But for players first time back in the Vault of Glass, the fights themselves should look familiar enough that Guardians can initially graft the old strategy onto the remade raid and find success. For veteran players, Vault of Glass is more than just a raid. It's a piñata for some of the most beloved loot in the franchise's history. For players hoping to get their hands on a Destiny 2 version of Fatebringer or Vision of Confluence, Blackburn has some great news. Just like I don't think you can bring back Vault of Glass if it doesn't feel like Vault of Glass and call it Vault of Glass, you can't bring back Vault of Glass without the weapons that feel like Vault of Glass, right? And he says, and so I would expect favorites to return. There's obviously some updating to go into the perk pools, but no one is out there to create a found verdict or a Fatebringer here that feels radically different from the original Fatebringer, because then it just feels like we're lying to players, right? Like there's, well, not what Fatebringer feels like. Everyone knows what the recall pattern is on that gun. Everyone knows what perks they wanted. Weapons won't necessarily be a one-to-one copy of what players had before, but Bungie is putting in the work to recreate guns that many players still tout as franchise favorites. And I'm just going to chime in here real quick on Hawk Moon, guys. I feel like Hawk Moon, I don't like it at all compared to the original Destiny 1 Hawk Moon. I mean, 13, I think that thing had 13 or 12 rounds, luck in the chamber, holding aces. I thought I would have fun with Hawk Moon in PvE. Look, I'm terrible with hand cannons in PvP, but I'm not even having fun with Hawk Moon in PvE. What do you guys think of Hawk Moon right now in PvE? Polygon continues with, Vault of Glass is a tricky but crucial raid to bring back into Destiny. It was ultimately what saved Destiny from its lackluster launch in 2014, as players who stuck with the game found something truly special in the bowels of Venus. Without Vault of Glass, I doubt the Destiny franchise would look the way it does now. Bringing it into Destiny 2 for the first time creates an opportunity that's twofold, one for veterans and also one for new players. Joe Blackburn seems equally excited for both those who loved Vault of Glass in the original game and for Destiny 2 only players who will get to take a stab at the revamped raid. When Bungie decides to drop the Vault of Glass in 2021, it will look and sound like the Vault of Glass you remember, but with a bit more oomph to it. So I'm excited. You guys let me know in the comment section. Are you excited? Yes, of course, I want a brand new raid, not a remake of something, but I love the Vault of Glass. I loved all of the raids from Destiny 1 because I felt they met the trifecta of fun, action, and some mechanics, and that's why I like Garden of Salvation and the Deepstone Crypt so much compared to some of the other raids. Now, moving along here, JP Deathblade from todayindestiny.com, he tweeted out, Fatebringer, Vision of Confluence, and other Vault of Glass weapons from D1 will sunset in Season 18. So I was like, wait a second, did it leak somewhere? How does he know that it's coming out in Season 14? So he and I were just DMing back and forth, and he was saying, oh, it just seemed like the pattern. Vault of Glass comes out in Season 14. And I was like, dude, I just read the article. It doesn't say anywhere when it's coming. And he's like, nah, he's like, actually, I just looked at it, and I might have misread the blog post, but they did say it would be coming before the next expansion, so it would have to be 13, 14, or 15. By Season 19, or at the latest, the weapons would sunset, unless they change how sunsetting works for raid items. Another thing thing too is, what if they're adept weapons from the raid? What if it's not just legendary weapons? That would be really cool if they made them adept weapons, and this way we get to keep them for the rest of Destiny 2's eternity. Lastly, a little Easter egg here. Nem Plays over on Twitter. I will link him in the description. Make sure you give him a follow. He goes, in case you missed it, the Dawning Xenophage ornament gives Omar a tiny little hat, LMAO. And Bungie's known for doing these little weird things where they'll throw them on exotics or certain ornaments. In fact, did you know that the Rat King, I think the base version, actually has a little Rolex crown, Rolex watches on it. It's slightly tuned a little differently to avoid copyright infringement, but there is a little Rolex crown on the side of the Rat King. Take a look at it. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Do me a favor, leave me a good old hashtag made it to the end if you did make it to the end, and do me a favor, drop a like in this video only if you see fit. Follow me on Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream, usually and always on YouTube, but that's it. I am out of here like Vladimir.